Hi everybody, I'm happy to see you here, and this is Flux demonstration video. To start the plugin, simply just drop the Python file into the viewport of Maya, and a little button will appear on your shelf. First of all, this plugin is for advanced animators. If you are just starting your path in animation, remember, the true beauty of animation lies in mastering the core fundamentals. But this plugin can help you avoid different restrictions of Maya. Okay, let's go. First tool that we have here is Create Anim System. Select animation control and push the button. It will create two locators. First one will be selected is a tip locator, on which your animation controller will aim on, so you can move it a bit to the side and the vector of your hair are pointing on. And the second locator you have is up vector of your animation controller, so your animation controller will orient on these two locators. To make the animation to locators, you should click on the empty space to clear the selection. Now you can see that our hair controller is driven by these two locators. Now we can use this tip locator to create free overlap effect with our next tool, Bounce. In order to make this tool work properly, please make sure that you're showing your joints in the viewport. Also, open your settings and in time slider menu, please make sure that playback speed is set to play every frame. This tool connects your locator to the basic physics simulation. Now you have some overlap automatization, but you can change it if you want by tweaking these channels. Damping controls how many times the object bounces, while stiffness determines how fast these bounces happen. Let's soften a bit both channels. Now we have nice and smooth overlap. Just to be sure his hair will back to idle pose, let's turn off the weight parameter at the end. Our overlap animation is done, but also we can use this object to add extra layer of animation by animating it directly. To complete the physics path, just click Bake and Clean. Apply overlap. This tool is working in two modes. First mode is a hierarchy mode, and second one is a work with different random objects. As you can see, I have these controllers of the weapon as a chain, so I will work with hierarchy mode on. To apply overlap on this mode, you should pick first controller of the chain. In the sharp move, even one frame offset can be too much. I will try to lower that to the half. To undo, just push Ctrl and Z and reapply with lower offset. This tool can handle a lot, but in extreme moments, hand touch will be necessary. As soon as you're happy with your automatic overlap, just merge the layers. Create Locator. This tool is just creating locator on place of your controller. If you have nothing selected, locator will be created in the origin. Delete all. This button is looking for locators that was created by this plugin and deleting them. Next tool is Link. This tool creates a locator that takes on him original animation and start driving the animation controller, but now in the world space. It's very helpful if you want to separate the parts of the rig. For example, if you need to do dance with your hips while chest doing its own thing. Very important thing that your animation will be baked to the whole time range you have in the scene. For example, in this scene from the 0 to 48, but it can be 700 or 60. It's no matter what your time slider currently shown. Next one is Link Smart. It is similar to the link, but it takes only keys that were on original object. Very useful if you want to preserve important keyframes. Here we have two options for baking. Fast Bake. It's baking the whole animation in each frame, and Smart Bake are baking only those keys that are already existing on the object. Next one, Orient Link. It is similar to the link, but it works only with rotation channels. The cool part of it is that it always stays in position of your controller. Orient Link Smart. It's the same as the Link Smart, but it works only with rotation. And if you apply it, it takes only keys that you had on your original object. Pivot Link. This tool is creating a locator which you can move before you bake all animation on it. Just push the button and position your locator in your desirable new pivot point. After you pick the new position for locator, just click on empty space to clear the selection and bake the animation on this locator. Now you can see how our hips working from new pivot point. Now we can put it on the layer to adjust our pose. With Pivot Link you can easily change your hierarchy of the rig. Just to be safe, make sure that you're working not with the rig directly, but with link locators. So we can create pivot link and put it under the foot in placement and hierarchy. And after that, just clear the selection to bake the information to the locator. So now you have the same animation that you had, but now hips working from the foot space. I am doing this only for demonstration and it can sound crazy, but believe me, this tool is very helpful. So at the end we have right foot that controlling the hips and hips that controlling the left foot. So you can build any hierarchy that you're comfortable to work with. Next tool is Tracker. Tracker is creating the locator that only repeat the animation that you had on your controller, but don't control nothing. Also, Tracker can be put not only on objects, but on components like vertex, edge or face, to track their position in the space. Next section is hierarchy. In this section we can use different tools to change our spaces on the fly, without losing any animation information. One more time, be aware, don't work with the rig directly when you change spaces or hierarchy, because it can break the rig and it can explode. So first of all, you should put your animation on the link locators. Next is the tool just simply puts first selected object into last selected object. This way we can switch the hierarchy of the FK chains. World is the tool that puts selected objects in the world space. Here, in the outliner, you can see two separated locators. Reverse is the tool that switches hierarchy of the two objects. Pick child first, and the second should be picked parent, and then activate the tool. And now we have them swapped. If you suddenly need to switch it back, you can do it without losing any animation. Bridge tool is a combination of two actions. You should pick two objects. On the first object, it will create a link and nest it under the second object. Here is the small locator is now child of the chest. Temp IK tool. This one is creating temporary IK chain over the existing FK chain and transfer all your animation to the IK handle. So you can change from IK to FK and reverse on the fly. Just pick three objects: upper arm, elbow and hand, and run the tool. Now I will show you the workflow how I fix this twisted arm. First of all, we should create pivot locator on our new IK hand and parent it under the weapon. Here you can zero your channels to bring locator in the origin of the weapon and slide it back to the hand. Clear selection to confirm the position. Now you can easily work around the weapon handle with an animation layer. If you worked with animation layer, you should merge it, and then we will need to bake our animation to the IK handle. For this, just use fast bake. And now you can bake it to the FK chain if you need it. Usually when I'm working, I will never use the IK from the rig. I always using FK chains, and if I needed switch it to IK, I simply using this tool because it allows me to change my chains on the fly. Here is another demonstration of the bounce tool on the simple object. I just will add simple animation and also adding the twist, so you can see that our bounce tool working not only with translation but with rotation also. Here you can see our simple 8 frames animation became the 40 frames animation with a nice bounce, but we need to tweak it. Find the bounce bone object and change the parameters. Usually, you should play with parameters to get used to it, to handle different scenarios. And once you need to fade out this bounce, just animate the weight parameter to the 0. And here you have fast, nice and soft bounce with overlap. Okay, so here we ran into the gimbal lock situation. But for this problem we also have one tool. Just pick desired rotation order from the menu. It will carefully change your rotation order and save all your animation, but I don't recommend you to use it directly on the rig. Use for it proxy locators. Snap keys. Just pick the controller that have jammed animation keys and push the button. This tool will put your keys on the whole frames with minimum loss in animation information. Crop animation keys. Just pick the keys on the timeline and push the button. Selected keys will be saved and other ones will be deleted. If you will isolate any channel on channel box or in graph editor, this tool will work only inside of selected channel. Next tool is center of mass. This tool is useful if you're working with balance or with acrobatic movement. Here we have this animation of somersault. I will isolate the movement from the takeoff to the landing and start the tool. Here starts the tricky part. In the first step, we need to find the joints that always represent the body part position. In the tool, you have button Show all skin joints. This button will try to show you the joints that have skin on them, but in different rigs the joints with skin would be hiding much deeper. If the tool didn't show you the joints, please try to find them by the hand. It's very important to avoid IK-FK joints. I found my skin joints in this out joints group. The idea of the joints you should pick is a joint that will be always inside the geometry of the body part. So if it's head, try to select the joint that always stay inside the head. Don't be afraid your rig will not be reconstructed or exploded. These joints needed only for information of the actual position of the body part. So again, now I'm just looking for joints that directly drive the geometry of the character and put them in the fields. But I know for sure, if you're working in game industry as an animator, you know where your skeleton is hiding. As fields are filled, you can hide your joints and make comb slave. The center of mass is the exact balance point of an object. Here you can see I added different proportions for different body parts. You can find different researches on the center of mass and body weight and put your own proportions if you have, for example, not human-like character. This object, the center of mass, can just show you the motion trail of your center of mass, and you can tweak your animation in terms to achieve the most realistic movement. As you can see, when I'm moving the body parts, the center of mass is moving proportionally. Now we will try to fix this jittery arc. To do so, you should go to the second tab. In the second tab, you should pick only those controllers you used to make this animation. So for this jump, I essentially used only hips and IK legs. You can see the tab has fields only for IK limbs. So if you were using only FK, you don't need to specify them. Make comb king. This button is switching the hierarchy between your center of mass and your character. So now the center of mass is driving your character. So now we can easily tweak this arc. But be careful, if you put your leg controllers to the fields, now the center of mass will control them. So you should tweak only the part when your character is on the fly mode. If you need to work with character that's standing on the ground, please don't include your leg controllers to the fields. As you can see, I tweaked the animation only between the takeoff and landing position, to not mess up my other animation. Now we have clean and smooth arc. Before we bake the animation, I want to draw your attention to the fact that the center of mass tool works within the predefined time range. It will not affect any animation before or after the time slider limits. Bake controls and revert comb. This button will bake the animation back to the animation controllers and put your center of mass object in the slave mode again, so it will follow your character. So you can visualize the center of mass of next part your animation without redoing the whole setup again. So now my center of mass is following my character and I can move to the next section of animation and work on this next little jump. I hope this overview of Flux Anim Tools was helpful and will help you make your Maya animation even more natural and dynamic. Remember, tools only enhance your craft, so keep mastering those core fundamentals. Thanks for watching, good luck with your work, and I can't wait to see your awesome projects. Link for download in description.